Today on Steelers Talk, I'm going to give you guys the latest Steelers trade rumors that are floating around out there. First up, there's a rumor out there that Derek Carr is faking his shoulder injury in order to get traded to a new NFL team. Kind of some juicy stuff there. We'll break it down at the top of today's program. Then we'll talk about Jalen Ramsey, as the star cornerback is now officially on the trade market. Should Omar Khan give Miami a call and try to get him here in Pittsburgh? I'll answer both of those questions and break down both of these topics on today's edition of Steelers Talk. But before we get into the content today, I want to let you guys know that tomorrow, Chat Sports is having a company-wide 3-round live mock draft where we're going to be going live on all of our various channels, including right here on Steelers Talk, where I am going to be representing the Pittsburgh Steelers in a 3-round mock draft. So we're going to be going live tomorrow, guys, at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on those notifications and join us tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the Chat Sports live mock draft. So we'll start here with the news from Ian Rappaport last week that kind of goes into the Derek Carr injury thing here, kind of threatening his 2025 season. He says the Saints suddenly have a major quarterback question. Starter Derek Carr is now dealing with a shoulder injury that threatens his ability for the season. Sources say Carr is weighing options, including the possibility of surgery. Then Diana Rossini of The Athletic goes on her show, Scoop City, yesterday and suggests pretty heavily that Derek Carr's quote-unquote shoulder injury might be more than what it seems at this point in time, and that he might be, kind of fibbing a little bit here so that he can request a trade away from the New Orleans Saints after the NFL draft. Warren Sharp put this out on his Twitter yesterday. A good breakdown of some of the quotes that Rossini said on her show when it comes to this topic. The first one that he points out, the Saints are on a mission to get a quarterback in this draft. The second one being, I wonder if there is a little bit of an excuse made with the shoulder so Derek doesn't look bad asking for a trade because of this situation. And then the third quote that suggests that this might not be as serious as maybe Ian Rappaport originally reported it to be. It was very hard for me to find anyone in football who said Derek is definitely dealing with a serious shoulder injury. So listen, man, this is kind of a weird situation because Carr agreed to a restructured contract with the New Orleans Saints earlier this offseason, all right? Now, maybe he was under the impression that that restructured deal meant that he was going to be the bona fide starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints as they start the Kellen Moore era there in the Big Easy. But what could have happened here is that Carr got wind at some point that the Saints plan on taking a quarterback at 9 overall, or at least some point early on in the NFL draft to be the future starter, and he's not really interested in being a bridge quarterback option in 2025, especially for a team like the New Orleans Saints that is a little bit in a rebuild right now. So you take a look at the contract details and the breakdown of the money that's still left on his deal. New Orleans' dead cap hit of total over the span of 5 years, if he's traded pre-June 1st, is over $78.8 million. Now, the money is kind of spread out over 5 years throughout the rest of his contract, multiple void years, all these different things. So they wouldn't have $78.8 million in dead cap for next season per se, but they would have that spread out over the 5 years that he is currently slated to have his contract out for when you include the void years. Lots of different semantics, lots of different complications with NFL contracts that we don't need to get into. But the thing that you need to know is that if the Pittsburgh Steelers trade for Derek Carr, his cap hit in 2025 next year would be just $1.26 million. So that, if you're looking for an affordable quarterback option, Carr could certainly provide that for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they miss out on Aaron Rodgers. But his cap hit does balloon up to $50 million, a $40 million base salary with a $10 million roster bonus in 2026. So if the Steelers plan on keeping him around, I would say that they would probably have to once again restructure his contract in 2026 because $50 million for Derek Carr might be a bit rich. And then, when it comes to the Steelers' potential interest in a Derek Carr trade, if he's made available, Benjamin Albright, somebody that's an insider in the NFL that I really trust, he had the early scoop that the Steelers were going to go pursue Aaron Rodgers, said also, shortly before that the Pittsburgh Steelers would have been in on a potential Derek Carr trade if he would have been made available this offseason. So if it comes comes to pass here, where he's once again made available or by the New Orleans Saints, or he requests a trade, I would expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to be heavily interested in Derek Carr, especially if they don't land Aaron Rodgers this offseason. And listen, man, on paper, Derek Carr is a really good fit for what the Pittsburgh Steelers want to do on the offensive side of the ball. Is he the best quarterback in the world? No. Is he even a top 10 quarterback? I mean, that's certainly dubious at best. But when you're looking for somebody that's a legitimate, bona fide NFL starter that really fits from like a skill set perspective what the Steelers really want in their starting quarterback, I think he fits it kind of to a T. Take a look at his pros and cons on my scouting report on him. I think he's got good size. He's got really good arm strength. He can throw the ball down the field with ease. He's got great mental processing ability. He's got one of the best deep balls in the league, in my opinion. Can throw with great touch to all levels of the field. He's really at his best when he's under center playing with play action, kind of similar to like Jared Goff. And then, you know, he does have some clutch factor to him as well. We'll talk about that clutch ability in just a second. But there are cons to his game. I think his pocket presence is abysmal. I think he can panic under pressure at times. And then, you know, we'll talk about some of his cold weather stuff as well. But he hasn't exactly have had the best track record playing not only in cold weather, but also in the playoffs where he has an 0-1 record. Hasn't been there a whole lot and hasn't had a whole lot of success. But you can take a look here at some of the clutch stats in Derek Carr's career. He was 13th all-time in game-winning drives and 14th all-time in fourth-quarter comebacks. By the way, interesting kind of fact here, kind of fun fact here, that's higher than Aaron Rodgers at this point. He's 41 years old. So Derek Carr, when it comes to games started, divided by, you know, game-winning drives and fourth-quarter comebacks, like he's been one of the most clutch quarterbacks actually in NFL history when it comes to leading a team back from a deficit in the fourth quarter and then delivering a victory when the game is on the line. I know that's something that Mike Tomlin would really appreciate. And then you take a look at his advanced metrics last year with the New Orleans Saints, who are not a good football team, but, you know, they didn't have a good offensive line. Lots of injuries all last year. They had multiple injuries to their top wide receivers like Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. He had no weapons to throw to. Marquez Valdez-Scantling was his number one receiver for most of last season. And despite that, he was 7th in EPA per play, 6th in adjusted completion percentage, 10th in yards per attempt, 8th in big-time throw percentage. He was around league average in turnover-worthy play percentage, and his pressure-to-sack ratio was 2nd, so he doesn't take a whole lot of sacks when he's pressured and does a good job getting rid of the football. So, you know, on paper, you know, if Derek Carr's made available, you can make an argument he might be even a better quarterback right now than Aaron Rodgers, but my concern with him on the Pittsburgh Steelers specifically is that he has struggled in the cold, and that is not something you want in your quarterback when you play in the AFC North. I mean, you play in Cleveland, outdoors. You play in Cincinnati, outdoors. You play in Baltimore, outdoors. And, of course, you play in Pittsburgh, outdoors. And Derek Carr knows all about that because he played in sub-freezing weather conditions against Kenny Pickett. And Kenny Pickett outperformed him in the cold on that Christmas Eve game just a few short years ago. So if Carr becomes the next starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would have some concerns about his ability to perform late in the season when the weather gets cold, when the Steelers would really need him. But plain and simply, guys, if Pittsburgh strikes out on Aaron Rodgers, their options are really limited. You got Kirk Cousins, who really did not show a lot of good things, especially towards the end of his Falcons tenure last year. You got guys like Carson Wentz, who hasn't been a starter in multiple seasons at this point. And then you could think about starting Mason Rudolph, who I don't really see as a short-term or a long-term solution in terms of winning playoff games. And then you could draft a quarterback, but the Steelers are trying to win now, and NFL history is very clear that really young quarterbacks don't win playoff games. So if you're looking for the best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, I think it's pretty simple, guys. It's Derek Carr. Plus, if he does ask for a trade at some point this offseason, I don't think he would be crazy pricey. I think you could maybe get him for a mid-round draft pick. Maybe you get him for a conditional draft pick, kind of similar to what they did with Justin Fields last year. There are ways to make this work here. And then, like we said, the cap hit for him in 2025 will not be all that much because of the way his contract is structured. So I think if you don't get Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr becomes available, he becomes the clear number one favorite for the Steelers to target on the trade market. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Between these three veteran quarterback options, which one would you want to see in black and gold next year? Give me AR for Aaron Rodgers, DC for Derek Carr, or type KC for Kirk Cousins. This will be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a few seconds, and I'll be talking about our sponsor today at Mando. While I'm talking about Mando Whole Body Deodorant today, make sure you go down there in the comments section and let me know which veteran quarterback you want to see in a Steelers uniform next year. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. And spring is finally here, which means warmer weather, which means sweat. To stay fresh during the warmer months, I trust Mando Whole Body Deodorant to keep me fresh, whether I'm taking my dog out for a walk or I'm going out to a baseball game with friends or with Cassie. Mando is safe to use anywhere on your body and is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. Also, Mando's entire line of products are baking soda-free, paraben-free, and you can choose from a variety of fresh scents like bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, and Pro Sport. You can find all of their products at major retailers such as Walmart and Target, but for the best deals, go to shopmando.com, and you guys can get Mando's starter pack today. It comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash. I highly recommend the body wash, guys. It smells fantastic. Plus, they got very highly recommended deodorant wipes as well. Plus, you get free shipping. And let me tell you guys, another product that I really like is their spray-on deodorant. I think that this is something that you can use anywhere on your body. You got the 360 handle on there, so you can reach any crevice on your body that you need. We don't have to get into the details of that. But what I love about Mando's products is that they keep you smelling fresh. So even when we're here at the office for like 72 hours straight for the NFL draft next week, we're going to be staying fresh here at Chat Sports with our Mando products. So you guys can get that starter pack today at 40% off your order and use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That is a special offer for our listeners. New customers get $5 off their starter pack with our exclusive code. Again, that equates to over 40% off your order at Chat when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's shopmendo.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando Whole Body Deodorant today. So we'll shift away from the quarterback position here for the second half of today's show because the Miami Dolphins have officially put star cornerback Jalen Ramsey on the trade block. Of course, our favorite dog, Slick Rick, predicted it last week. Says, breaking, big trade for the Dolphins. Dolphins are trading away an all-pro player. Of course, that happened just days before Ian Rappaport reported that the Dolphins and 7-time Pro Bowl cornerback Jalen Ramsey, of course, all-pro player, are mutually set to explore trade options, and it wouldn't be a surprise if he played elsewhere in 2025, per me and Tom Pelissero. Miami and Ramsey, due $25.1 million, fully guaranteed this year, could be parting ways. Then Tom Pelissero with a follow-up there with Chris Greer, the Dolphins GM, at his press conference yesterday. Says, after a couple weeks of discussions, we decided it was probably in the best interest for all parties to move forward. Says Ramsey did not ask for a trade, but says it was clear to move on. So the big question on every Steelers fan's mind, of course, is whether or not the Pittsburgh Steelers should pick up that phone and give Miami a call. Now, we know Omar Khan certainly can be aggressive when it comes to, pursuing trade opportunities. And I do think on paper, I would love Jalen Ramsey to come and be this team's nickel cornerback, because I think this guy, when he's played in the type of system where he's allowed to play that nickel star position, he's been one of the best safe corners in all of football. You take a look at his career PFF grading, you guys can see here that, he's been very consistently one of the best corners in all of football. And there's been some years where he's been truly elite in his grading, 2017 and 2021. He was the highest graded corner in all of football. And really, I think Ramsey has played his best football, guys, when he's been a nickel kind of overhang type of player, like he played that role at the Los Angeles Rams in 2021 and 2022. And he was really, really good at that. And, even just last year at the Miami Dolphins, he was a top 10 graded corner in the game. And, I think that he is certainly somebody that if the Steelers can swing to get him here and be this team's nickel corner, I mean, that is a huge upgrade from where this team was at the position last year with Beanie Bishop Jr. and, of course, Cam Sutton. But practically speaking, I really doubt that the Pittsburgh Steelers land him in a trade. I mean, he would look damn good in black and yellow. You guys can see that right there. But, Ramsey's contract isn't exactly cheap. As they mentioned, he's due $25.1 million fully guaranteed this year. And there's a lot of different complications with his contract, with different types of bonuses that could kick in and not kick in, all these different things. He's got incentives on his deal as well. But all you guys need to know is that they probably can't afford to add him and then still get Aaron Rodgers, because the effective cap space that they have right now is just over $28.3 million. And I think most of that right now is kind of earmarked for a potential deal with Aaron Rodgers. Now, I don't think he's going to get like $40 million per season or anything like that, but I would expect his deal to be somewhere around 1 year, 20, maybe $25 million. And, that's going to take up most of your remaining effective cap space for the 2025 season. So I don't think that this is necessarily super practical for the Pittsburgh Steelers to go get Jalen Ramsey, especially if they still feel like Rodgers is going to sign on to this football team. But there's another question here of, which corner is going to come off the field in your base formations? Because the Steelers do like to go to a base formation, especially on early downs against run-heavy teams where there's only 2 cornerbacks on the field. And you've got your cornerback room right now where you got Joey Porter Jr. and you got Darius Slay. Both of guys probably expect to be 3-down starters for this football team. And if you end up trading for Jalen Ramsey, then it's like, which one of those 3 is coming off the field when you're in your base sets? If you add Ramsey, you got a really, really good 3-cornerback trio there. But the question is, which one's coming off the field? Because all of them are veterans and all of them probably expect to be 3-down starters. Now, something you might be asking yourselves at home, kind of shifting away from Jalen Ramsey, because I don't think that's too realistic. What about Tyreek Hill? Because if Ramsey's on the trade block, that means that could point to the Miami Dolphins potentially embracing a full rebuild here. And Tyreek Hill has certainly indicated at times this offseason that he wouldn't mind a trade elsewhere. Well, Tom Pelissero gave us an update on what Chris Grier had to say about the Tyreek Hill situation. Grier said, and I quote, "That is not anything we're pursuing. Who knows? If someone wants to come and give me 2 first-round picks, we'll consider it." So that's kind of his way of saying, we'll listen to offers, but we're probably going to not trade Tyreek Hill this offseason. And my take on adding Tyreek Hill, guys, is that he's a dynamic playmaker. He's one of the most dynamic, fastest deep threat type receivers in NFL history. But he's going to cost too much money. His contract is huge, and he's going to want a new deal here pretty soon. And then, as he's shown this offseason, he is a major headache for any team that he's on. He's dealt with some domestic violence issues in his past as well. It's just not exactly the type of player where if you're trying to get away from, diva-type receivers, I'm not sure if this is the type of move you make if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what I say here, guys, is just don't mess with a good thing. You've got the Twin Towers. You got the crash-out bros here. You got DK Metcalf and George Pickens. I want to see these guys play together, particularly if Aaron Rodgers is going to come here and be this team's starting quarterback, because Rodgers can throw up those back shoulder fades now to George Pickens. He can throw those dig routes to DK Metcalf like they were practicing at UCLA. I think that this could be a dynamic wide receiver duo, and I would love to see what Pickens does in kind of a number 2 wide receiver role when he's facing number 2 corners. I mean, I'm really excited for this duo, guys, so I'm not really all that interested in making a blockbuster trade for Tyreek Hill, even if he's available. So predict it for me down there in the comments section. Will Pittsburgh make another splash at wide receiver this offseason? Will they trade George Pickens? Will they draft a receiver early? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Give me a yes or a no to share with me what you guys think about the wide receiver position here in Pittsburgh. And again, guys, make sure you click that subscribe button. We'll be back later today with another Steelers Talk video. But again, we'll be back tomorrow live on this channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 30 minutes before the live 3-round Chat Sports mock draft. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. So if you want to join us for that, it's going to be a ton of great fun here with all of us here at Chat Sports. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.